In 2023, a worker inside an Amazon warehouse collapsed on the floor during her shift, and nobody stopped the line. The conveyor belt behind her kept moving like nothing happened. The robots around her kept lifting shelves without even a pause. And the system she worked for kept counting every second she was not scanning items. Now you might think this was just a one-time accident, but the truth is, it was a small sign of something much bigger. Because this system is not running in just one building. It is running in hundreds of warehouses across the world at the same time. And the most shocking part is that it never shuts down. It does not stop for night or day. It does not slow down for weekends or holidays. It just keeps running every single day of the year. And every time you click Buy Now, this is the machine that starts moving for you. Amazon's largest warehouse is so huge that 78 football fields could fit inside it. And that building is only one part of a massive global network. Inside these facilities, over 750,000 robots work with human employees to process millions of packages daily. It sounds like an incredible success story, but the people inside have used words that tell a very different story. And what those words mean is something we need to understand. Now, to understand how this system survives, you first need to understand how big it actually is, because most people have no idea. By 2026, Amazon runs around 175 fulfillment centers in just the US and Canada. And on top of that, there are hundreds more spread across Europe, Asia, and the rest of the world. All of them connected into one single network processing millions of orders at the same time. This is not just a bunch of warehouses sitting in different places. This is the largest fulfillment system ever built by any private company in history. And the speed inside these buildings is something that will blow your mind. Their same-day delivery facilities can move a package from order to truck in just 11 minutes. Traditional warehouses take over an hour for the same thing. But here is what most people completely miss about this. Amazon did not build all of this just to be big. They built all of this to be fast. And the size was just a tool to make that speed possible. But size also creates a very dangerous problem. The bigger the system gets, the more things can go wrong inside it. And keeping something this massive from falling apart every single day requires a technology so powerful that it changed what a warehouse even means. That technology started with one single purchase that most people never even heard about. Back in 2012, Amazon spent $775 million on a small robot company. At the time, most people thought it was just a small experiment that would not go very far. But today, there are over 750,000 robots running across their warehouse floors every single day. Have you ever wondered what these robots actually do? Instead of workers walking 20 miles a day to find items, the robots bring the entire shelf right to them. This change allowed Amazon to store 40% more items in the exact same amount of space. They can pack things tighter because robots do not need wide hallways like humans do. But here is the scary part that most people do not realize. When the robots take over the movement, the algorithm takes over the speed of the work. The workers are no longer just people. They have become a part of the machine itself. The system even learns your habits and rearranges the entire warehouse while you are sleeping. It is easily one of the most advanced systems anywhere on the planet. But in late 2026, Amazon did something that made these robots look like old toys. They opened a warehouse that was designed to run with almost no humans at all. And what happens inside that building is something you need to see to believe. In November 2026, Amazon opened a warehouse that changed everything we thought we knew about fulfillment. This was not just another building with robots inside. This was a robotic system that happened to be housed inside a building. And that difference is much bigger than it sounds. Every other Amazon warehouse was built with the idea that humans would do certain jobs, but this one was built to run 24 hours a day with almost no human help at all. The AI inside this building does not just store items. It decides exactly where every single product should go. And every night while you sleep, the entire warehouse reorganizes itself based on what people ordered that day. The accuracy inside is almost perfect with less than 0.1% errors. And here is the part that changes everything for workers. Running this facility at 3 in the morning costs the same as running it at 3 in the afternoon. No night shift pay, no overtime, no holiday bonus. That single fact makes automation more attractive than ever before. But this building is still just one piece of a much bigger system. Because what really keeps Amazon alive is the invisible brain that connects all these warehouses together. And that intelligence is something most people have never even heard of. Now here is where things get really mind-blowing. Amazon's warehouses do not work as separate buildings making their own choices. They all work together as one giant system controlled by a single brain. And this brain is an AI that manages hundreds of facilities at the exact same time. When you click buy on Amazon, this system checks which warehouse has your item, how far it is from your house, how busy that building is right now, and which trucks are available to deliver it. All of this happens in milliseconds before you even see your order confirmation. And the same thing is happening for millions of other orders at the exact same second. But here is what makes this system truly different from anything else. It does not just work on normal days. It is built to survive when everything goes wrong at once. During Prime Day or holiday season, the demand can jump 3 or 4 times higher than normal. And the AI predicts these spikes before they even happen using weather data, social media trends, and search patterns. But all of this technology still depends on something the machines cannot fully replace. 1.5 million human workers who show up every single shift. And what is happening to those workers inside this machine is a story that most people are not ready to hear. Now we need to talk about the part of this story that Amazon does not want you to see. Behind all the robots and AI, there are 1.5 million real human beings working inside these warehouses. And what they go through every single day is something that will change how you think about your next delivery. Imagine standing in one spot for 10 hours straight while robots keep bringing you item after item after item. You cannot slow down because an algorithm is watching your every move. Every scan is tracked, every second of rest is logged, and every time you fall behind, the system flags you automatically. Workers have described this feeling using words like caged, hopeless, and watched. And the numbers behind their pain are even more disturbing. Before robots came in, workers handled around 100 items per hour. Now that number has jumped to 300 or 400 items per hour because the machines never get tired. One worker named Candace Dixon lifted nearly 100,000 items in just 2 months. Her back was completely destroyed with bulging discs and chronic pain that her doctor said would never fully heal. And Amazon's injury rates are significantly higher than companies like Walmart and Target. Some warehouses have turnover rates of 100 to 150%, meaning they replace their entire workforce every single year. But the hardest days for these workers are not the normal ones. The real test comes during moments when the pressure reaches levels that most people cannot even imagine. Most days inside an Amazon warehouse are already extremely difficult. But then there are days when everything gets pushed to a level that most people cannot even imagine. Prime Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the entire holiday season. These are not just busy days for Amazon. They are moments when the entire system gets pushed to its absolute breaking point. During these peak periods, the order volume can jump to 3 or 4 times the normal daily amount. Think about what that actually means for the people inside. Imagine working at your absolute maximum effort for 1 full day. Now imagine doing that same thing for 6 to 8 weeks straight without a real break. That is what peak season asks of every single worker inside these buildings. The conveyor belts run faster. The robots move in tighter patterns. The picking targets go even higher. And thousands of new seasonal workers are thrown into the busiest time of the year without enough training to protect themselves. Injury rates during peak season are noticeably higher than any other time of the year. But here is the part that most people do not know. Amazon actually starts preparing for the holiday rush as early as August. They move popular products closer to cities and preload delivery stations months before customers even start shopping. So when the surge hits, the system absorbs it because it was already half ready. From the outside, it looks like a smooth operation, but from the inside, it is something very different. And right now in 2026, something bigger than peak season is putting the entire model under pressure. Something that may force Amazon to rethink everything about how this system survives. Now here is a part of Amazon's survival that most people completely overlook. It is not just about the warehouses or the robots. It is about the fact that Amazon decided to control everything from start to finish. Let me explain what that actually means. A few years ago, Amazon relied on companies like FedEx and UPS to deliver its packages. But that created a problem. What happens when those companies get too busy during the holidays? What happens when their priorities do not match Amazon's promises? Amazon looked at that risk and made a decision that changed everything. They started building their own transportation empire. Today, Amazon operates over 100 aircraft through Amazon Air flying packages between warehouses across the country. They lease their own ocean freight containers to ship products across the world. They created a network of delivery service partners who run small businesses that deliver exclusively for Amazon. And they are even testing drones that can drop packages at your door in under 60 minutes. Think about what this means. Amazon does not need to ask permission from anyone to deliver faster. They do not have to wait in line behind other companies for shipping space. They control the entire journey from warehouse shelf to your front door. But building an airline, a trucking network, and a drone program while also running the world's biggest fulfillment operation is incredibly complicated. And yet there is a pressure building on Amazon right now that none of this technology can solve. It is not about logistics or speed. It is about something much bigger than that. Now, everything we have talked about so far has been pressure from inside the system. The robots, the algorithms, the workers, the endless 24/7 demand. But there is another kind of pressure building on Amazon right now, and this one is coming from outside the warehouse walls. Regulators are watching. Politicians are asking questions. Labor groups are raising alarms, and the public is slowly starting to learn what is actually happening inside these buildings. There comes a point when a company gets so big that its size stops being just an advantage. It also becomes a target. Amazon has reached that point. These warehouses are no longer just logistics buildings in the eyes of the world. They have become symbols of something much bigger. Symbols of automation replacing workers. Symbols of surveillance at work. Symbols of the trade-off between your convenience and someone else's pain. Think about how differently you might feel about next-day delivery if you actually saw what it takes to make that happen. It does not always change what you buy, but it changes how you feel about what you buy. And that feeling is becoming a real problem for Amazon. The 2025 Packaging Pain Report showed that Amazon's injury rates are significantly higher than Walmart, Target, and other major competitors. OSHA has issued fines and citations at multiple Amazon facilities. And in Europe, new laws are being created specifically to limit how much algorithms can control worker speed and discipline. Amazon always responds by pointing to its wages, which are often above minimum wage. They talk about their healthcare benefits and education programs, and those things are true. But critics say the real comparison is not about pay. It is about injury rates and how many bodies are being broken to keep this machine running. Now, here is something most people do not realize. Every new safety rule or regulation that gets placed on Amazon also gets placed on every competitor trying to copy them. And since Amazon already has the scale and money to handle those costs, the regulations might actually make it harder for anyone else to challenge them. The rules meant to slow Amazon down might end up making Amazon even stronger. Amazon has also promised to run on 100% renewable energy and has invested billions in solar and wind. By 2023, they matched all their electricity use with renewable purchases. But critics point out that matching energy is not the same as actually running on clean power every second of the day. The pressure from outside is real, and it is growing. Regulators, activists, journalists, and the public are all paying closer attention than ever before. And yet the network keeps expanding. New warehouses keep opening. New robots keep arriving. Delivery times keep getting faster, which raises the biggest question of all. Is this system actually sustainable, or is it slowly building up a cost that one day will become too big to ignore? Amazon is not sitting around wondering if its current system will last. It is already building what comes next. And what comes next is a world where even fewer humans are needed inside these buildings. Right now, Amazon is testing technologies that sound like they belong in a science fiction movie. computer vision systems that can inspect packages without any human looking at them, robotic arms that can grab and pick items of all different shapes and sizes, augmented reality glasses that show workers exactly where to go without thinking, and autonomous robots that move products across entire warehouse zones completely on their own. Each of these is not just a cool gadget. Each one is a signal of where Amazon is heading. Think about what happened when ATMs showed up in banks. Suddenly, you did not need as many human tellers to handle cash. The technology created efficiency, but it also replaced people. Amazon's automation is doing the same thing, but at a much faster speed. Right now, the one thing robots still struggle with is picking items of different shapes from bins. Human hands are still better at that delicate work. But robotics experts say that barrier could fall within 5 to 10 years. And when it does, the last major reason to have human pickers in these warehouses starts to disappear. Amazon says it is preparing workers for this future through programs like Career Choice. They pay up to 95% of tuition for workers to study things like healthcare and IT. And that sounds generous because it is generous. But critics point out something interesting. The program trains people for jobs outside Amazon's warehouses, which might tell you what Amazon really believes about where these jobs are going. Amazon is not automating because it hates workers. It is automating because machines are predictable and humans are not. At this scale, predictability is worth everything. No sick days, no turnover, no injuries, no complaints, just machines running exactly as programmed every single second of the day. All of this points to one final question that this entire story has been building toward. Not whether Amazon's system survives, it clearly does, but whether the way it survives can actually continue forever. Or whether something is building up inside this machine that one day will become impossible to ignore. Every single day, Amazon does something that would have been completely impossible just 30 years ago. Millions of packages delivered accurately across hundreds of markets in almost any weather and around every holiday. That achievement is real, and it is built on 3 layers that must all hold at the same time. Technology that keeps getting smarter, a network that keeps getting bigger, and a human workforce that keeps absorbing the costs that the other 2 create. Think about what it means to be one of those 1.5 million workers. They are parents who need the income, immigrants building new lives, young people with no other options. At some warehouses, the turnover rate reaches 100 to 150% every year. The entire workforce replaces itself more than once annually, and this is not a flaw in the system. This is the system. The productivity targets that cause injuries are the same targets that create fast delivery. The surveillance that workers call dehumanizing is the same surveillance that keeps error rates near zero. Amazon's network does not survive despite its human cost. It survives because of it, and that truth is something most customers never see when they click buy now. Here is what Amazon's warehouse network has actually proven. The machine works. Speed, accuracy, scale, reliability. It outperforms anything before it. And it works because every component, robotic and human, gets optimized, monitored, and replaced when it slows down. That is not a flaw. That is the design. Right now, the conveyor belts are still running. The robots are still moving. A worker is scanning their 400th item of the hour. The machine survives because it was built to survive. But surviving is not the same as thriving. And that question belongs to everyone whose click keeps this machine alive. Amazon's warehouse network is the backbone of modern e-commerce. It survives through robotics, AI, and 1.5 million workers whose labor makes every delivery real. The machine works. It also costs. Both facts are part of the same story. If this changed how you see your next delivery, share it with someone who never thought about what happens after they click buy. Subscribe for more stories like this. And tell us in the comments, does knowing all this change anything for you?